too late, but it seemed like 20 minutes. So happy to be here. Especially happy to have Beverley Glazer here again. If it's Tuesday, it's Beverly's Day, Women's Empowerment event. Today's topic is focused on collaboration, and so excited to be here today. Also, chat's wide open. We really depend on chat to hear and listen to what you have to say and direct us in the most relevant ways. So with that, Beverly, I know we started a little tenuously, but it'll be smooth riding from here on in. Why don't you share a little bit of an update and what your initial thoughts on collaboration is?
Okay, well, the update, first of all, for those people who do not know me or are not following me, I provide premier custom coaching solutions, and it's generally for women over 50, and it's to soar beyond any of your limits, both in your professional and in your personal life. So this is who I am. This is who I do, what I do. And my background is as a therapist, and I've been doing this for over 35 years. So the coaching solutions that I provide are all collaborative. Now, if I'm in groups, of course, or workshops, it's still collaborative, but it's not so intense as it is when I'm really working with clients one-on-one. When you're there, it is a collaboration. And when two people work together and one has that direction and the other person says, this is where I want to go, that's when the meeting of the minds comes. That's when the magic happens. And in all collaboration, there is magic. Because one person knows one and the other person has other values. And when we put it together, wow, we just go farther. And what I love about LinkedIn is it's all about collaboration. Mm-hmm. It's not just about putting out a funny post. It's not just about what can you do for me. It's really what value can I give to them? And then we meet, we talk, and we don't have to even have a Zoom. You just answer the post. Just those simple answers, those simple reflections are collaborative. And that's a win-win for everybody. And Dawn, what we're doing right now is we're collaborating, right? I mean, this show is really about LinkedIn Live, getting on LinkedIn Live, doing promotions on LinkedIn Live, talking about what you do. And here I am talking about what I do. I'm sharing my audience. You're sharing your audience. And the audience itself is collaborative. People can ask questions. People can get advice. It doesn't matter. You are who you are. And we just elevate ourselves just by listening to what other people have. This is not about a lecture. It's not about having to sign in for anything. All you have to do is flick a switch and you're in and you're learning. And guess what? If you're not learning, you can flick off. No problem. But what it is it's a collaboration with all of us. And I'm really excited, Dawn, to see people who are collaborating with us and coming in all the time and answering. And, you know, this is what it is. On LinkedIn Live, we need you. And hey, this is wonderful. So my question today, do you like collaborating with other people? Not everybody does. A lot of people say, no, you know, I'm a loner. I like to do it alone. And so is that you? Do you like collaborating? Are you kind of feeling icky about meeting new people in a group? Because collaboration groups happen to be just that. It's a group. And some people don't like groups, so they can go in very slowly. I want to hear from all of you because really, much like Dawn, I love collaborating with people. I really do. I learn so much, and I'm a glutton for learning. I mean, you know, tell me more. Right? And so what happens is you can learn so much more when you have a group of like-minded people that are on the same page, and everybody comes in and everybody has something to offer. Isn't that awesome? I think so. So
I could sit here and listen for the whole show and feel I participated just in the right way, because I see it the same way as when you say it's about learning.
yeah,
It's really about learning about you first,
yeah,
and the audience gets the benefit of your evolution,
yeah.
and growth. I've done 700 of these, but when you say these, I've had the opportunity to spend an hour with at least 700 people,
Mhm.
a lot of them the same people over time, but they've made me so much better. How many consultations could I justify if I was just professionally connected to Beverly? If I said for an hour a week for the next 6 months, I want to spend time talking with you, it'd
Yeah,
be impossible. But
exactly.
if you meet through a collaborative nature, which then Beverly may say, well, how could I ever have an hour of you every week?
Exactly.
Right? And if you decide, hey, together, we're going to learn faster, we're going to feel better, because you get confidence in collaboration. When 7 people say, hey, we're on the right track, your feeling is, I'm on the right track more than I would have been if it was just me on the track. And then everything changes tomorrow again. And the beauty of this is it really lends itself to responsibility and accountability. You got to earn your ticket every day. In the workplace, someone can push their control or power around, or, hey, I own it, I can do what I want, and I pay you, and you need to do what I need you to do. It's different than, hey, it's only together until it isn't.
Yeah.
And it can stay together as long as it needs to be if everybody's willing to continue to go 50-50 and maybe a little bit more, because it's really the trust factor. The reason why people don't want to collaborate is they think they've got something more valuable than the other person, right? Why would I exchange $10 for $5? When actually what you're doing is adding a 10 to a 5. And now you've got $15 and you haven't given anything away. You just shared what you know. So I think it's a mature professional approach one has to take. And also, listening to the Stephen Covey book again today, the chapter I'm on is start with the end in sight,
Yeah.
right? So when you go on a journey, know where you're going to, know how you're going to get there, and measure against that. And it's the same thing here, is that you're communicating in like smoke signals through posting and commenting. You put a little something out there, it gets a little visibility, gets a little reaction, doesn't really light a fire. You come on here and you're only going to be with people who have already crossed that bridge to say, I'm happy on video, I'm happy live, I'm happy with anybody. I think I can hold my own. And at least acknowledge and respect them if they're way over the top. And that's the role I play, because everything is reciprocal. Everybody punches their card, but no one gets 2 punches. So, and then everybody says, well, why would I want her or him on the show? Well, because of their audience, because of association, because of future opportunity. These are all the things that can happen, but you got to put in the work to make it happen. I was on Carl's show that precedes this show, and his guest didn't show up. And I tell you, not to get off topic, but I'm good for about 8 minutes by myself, and that's it, right? Because I don't have enough of me for everybody if it's just me, and it's too much to do. So anyways, I happened to jump on like 3 minutes into the show, and I saw Carl was by himself. And then Carl acknowledged me and wrote, would you like to be on the show today? And, I got my schedule. I said, okay, give me 10 minutes and let me get everything together. And I did. It made for a great show. But that's where collaboration comes in. is, you could reach out to about anybody if they're available. Yeah, I'll save you from an hour of yourself, and a disappointment with your guest. But, that's the responsive learning experience of it. And if people don't judge other people different than they want to be judged, and if people want to give people some liberty and permission and forgiveness for making mistakes or not doing it, whatever it is. But, there's so few people doing it that anybody who does it is head and shoulders above the people who don't. With that said, we've got Carrie here. Thank you for being here, Carrie.
Gary.
Connie's here. I believe I've seen your name. I know
Hey,
Grandma.
Connie. Yes, I know Connie well. Hey, Connie. Yes.
Well, it's good to see you, Connie. If you're a friend of Beverly's, you're automatically a friend of the show and might want to consider being a guest. So
Yeah,
we're
sure.
always open for new people, new ideas, and it could be the beginning of something that no one anticipated. Here's Omar with Zoom Party. I do like to collaborate, but it depends on the tasks. Some tasks I can do alone. Happy Tuesday. Everything is conditional. Everything's relative. Everything's worth a try. And then where you can go with it.
Yeah,
Carl's
I'd like to stop on that
ahead,
one.
please.
And just to talk to that, because I think Carl also brought up that the media glamorizes the lone wolf. And that's so true. The lone wolf entrepreneur, the hunter that brings back the game. I mean, you don't have to go much farther than just go back. Take a look at the movies, that's the star. Well, the star really needs everyone else behind that. And you cannot star alone. You really can't. You're struggling. And that is the difference. When there are people behind you, when you have a team, think of an army, it's like the captain is nothing without the team. The major is that, what is it, right? It's a collaborative effort, and we better put together a good job. And so it's not just the lone wolf. And yes, there are a lot of things that I do best, trust me, and do I give that up? No. That's my superpower. And everybody has that. But I get stuck in certain places, and that's where I need to collaborate. And that's where I have to know enough to know that I need help. Because when you go out as a lone wolf, you can hit the wall, hard. And when you hit that wall, what do? Are you going to quit? Are you going to maybe pivot? Are you going to decide not to do it? So this is whether it's work, whether it's, you've just gotten out of a divorce and, your life is just running along smoothly. And then all of a sudden something is cut off. It's like, yes, I could do it alone. Yes, I'm a strong person. Oh my goodness, Dawn, I've heard that 100,000 times. I'm a strong person. We all are strong people. We can do it. But if you want to do it better, ask. There are people there that will help. And believe me, you move so much faster with so much more ease. And you can get the direction that you want, because in our own minds, we get all carried away with all kinds of other nonsense. I don't have to tell you how many times we're distracted during a day, right? It's like, it's crazy. I want to do this, but then this kicks in and this kicks in. Well, this is our lives. If you don't have a plan at the end of the year, you're going to be exactly where you were. And then you say, okay, next year, I'm going to do that. But if you have a coach, if you have a mentor, it's that person that guides you to the light, seriously, okay? And so what happens is that's a team, that's a collaboration. And that doesn't mean you're a weak person. As a matter of fact, you're a strong person, strong enough to realize what your strengths are and where you need help, because human beings go right back to the clan. And we're not alone. We are not. So what it is we all help each other. And if you just go right back down to the indigenous people, think about it. The elders have value, the children have value, everybody has value. We lost that. And so we're getting that back in business. We're getting that really back in life. But we have been trained to be lone wolves. We can handle it. We live in our isolated, boxes. We lose sight of our children. They go off to college. They go in different directions, and we are alone. This is the biggest problem right now with elderly people, with people that feel they have to be alone raising families, and they've lost the connection of other people. So just think about collaboration in a whole different way. It's like, we need this, guys. Let's join a team, and the team is humanity. And then find your place, and you will move so much faster. And it'll just take the pain out of it. You get unstuck. Believe me, you do. Don.
Yeah, those are wonderful thoughts and valuable insights. I happen to be watching a Netflix series I started yesterday, and it was named Coaches. And it took 5 of the most famous sports coaches around. They had the lady who took the women's soccer team to the World Cup. Then they had a gentleman who was in soccer in Europe. Make a long story short, the reason they did so well is they had players that were so good. And the one coach said, how do I coach a player who's way beyond anybody's capability?
Right.
So I don't coach players, I coach teams. I find where that player is a better fit in the team. I find a way for the team to get more cohesive, to come together, right? And you always have you, which is not good or bad, but you can always have you. So being a lone wolf is the default when you don't have anything or anybody else.
Yes.
Right? But when you join forces, but here's the thing, join a team that's already in place, that's already doing good stuff, that's already learning and sharing. And actually, it's a self plug, but we created a collaboration group, meets every other Thursday, and everybody's doing something in the same area. So it's not like 2 people are out there and 5 people are in the stands. Everybody's playing in one way or another. Everybody's learning. Everybody's getting some nuances, which may create a question, which may give them an answer. But, you're with people who allow you to stay with yourself long enough to be successful. Because the long, lonely road of doing it yourself, and when you say lone wolves, there aren't anybody. I mean, you have people out front like an Elon Musk, right? Or like a Bill Gates. And everybody says, oh, they're a lone wolf. No, they got 40,000 people working for them. They probably got people so much smarter than themselves, and they want it that way, but they never get the spotlight. They do the work, and someone can go on a show and say, here's what I do. And it's synonymous with maybe their company or their mission. But what I learned about live streaming and community is you got to learn it, then you got to do it before you're in a position to actually teach it. And I'm also understanding that you tend to come in with limited knowledge and a ton of excitement. And if your knowledge doesn't increase, your excitement will decrease. And now you have no excitement and no knowledge, you're gone. So I think that if you do it for a primary reason and a goal that you can achieve. I mean, just being with Beverley, I get better, I get smarter. I never have a show where I don't have something else I could have said or something I was thinking about, which lends itself to the next show. Right? If you got into a show halfway in, it's like no one's talking about anything. Well, you just completed that circle.
Right.
And the other thing is to Beverly's point about elders being respected, children being respected, it's because they have access and a voice that people want to hear. And too many people have lost their voice, or the microphone's been taken away because traditionally things don't work. But now with this opportunity for, Harvey's going to start a second show, and I think that's great. It's like you got your first store, it's working, you open another location and you keep opening one. But I'm starting to see that differently too, because I look at it like you create a show because you have a person, because you have a audience, because you have a topic that's valuable. And which means that you can go live anytime you want. I mean, I could be talking to somebody on the phone and say, hey, this conversation's great. Let's just switch to live and continue it in front of everybody and get more value out of it. And I think it's cost, time, efficiency. And really, are you attractive to people enough to want to come back and see you again? And I'm not just talking superficially, but do you make them think? Do you inspire them? Do you make them do things? Because then something tangible has come out of it versus, yeah, I got a lot of new stuff. And the other thing I learned, no one cares what you know until they know who you are. Right? Everybody wants to know, who is this person? What's they're all about? I don't care what they're selling doesn't mean anything until I understand some more context. And is this a person I want to get invested in or committed to? And do they show me things that I relate to, I align with? My values are in sync with them. And that's something that you have a choice. Because if you just do the commenting, connection, liking, posting, it's always wink, wink, nod, nod, two ships passing in the fog. And it's not satisfying. You say, I did a lot of work. I got 20 flowery comments. So what? It's like getting medals that don't mean anything. So, Beverly, we got an interesting crowd, as always.
Yeah.
An interesting subject. And, how have you changed over time with the experience of live streaming?
I have changed over time, Don. Live streaming is just an add-on. And I think that we should all keep adding on. I really do. How do I change over time? Well, I'll tell you the simple way I've changed over time is I am from a model of really one-on-one. So that's lone wolf, right? That's really just me, myself, and I, people coming to see me. And when I branched out online, I did groups, I did speaking, but guess what? You'd have to come here to Montreal, or you'd have to go wherever I was a guest speaker, but that would be it. Now, what's happened is you're open, and I can coach online. I can speak right now to everybody right here, whoever's there. And people get to know me. They know what I do. They know that I do custom coaching. They know that I work with women. They know that I empower. They know they work with professionals. They know that I work with getting people to be better and on a higher level. Now, back in the day when I was just a therapist in Montreal, terrible to say just a therapist, right? Terrible. I spent years to be just a therapist. Well, and then I had a talk radio show also. And then I was talk radio therapist in Montreal, right? And then what happens is they started, this was back in the day, right? So then everything went live streaming, live everywhere. And you could listen to CJAD radio everywhere in the world, should you want to, online. And we opened up. This is the world today. We have opened up. And now everybody with a computer, everybody that has a phone, at one time I had a phone on a wall, right? I don't know if anyone remembers that, but what was that about? To be able to get privacy, I had to pull my wire into my bedroom so my parents couldn't hear me, and of course they could. But the bottom line is now you have a phone, you can walk out of the house. Amazing stuff. We're used to this. But what happens is there's communication everywhere, and it gives you the opportunity to be who you are. And this is what, for me, live streaming is all about, Dawn. You cannot hide. I cannot hide who I am. Oh, this is it. We're talking. You get what you get. And just, we were late. Why? And you explained it. You were on another show. There was a disconnect. There are the wires. Everything goes wrong. Well, I've done TV. I've also done film. Things go wrong too, but it's edited, it's cut, and it looks beautiful to the audience, and you don't see a flaw. And this is how the world has opened up. Try anything in a restaurant, anywhere, an accident. Everybody knows everything before the cops even come. And so this is what live is. But you don't have to be afraid of it. You can say there's an awful lot of bad, and there's a lot of bad, but there's a lot of good. And like everything else, you have to do it for yourself. And on LinkedIn, if you have a business, what it is it opens you up to give value to people who want what you have, and they're listening. And how much better is that, right? And yes, if you give away a tidbit, whatever it is, sometimes it's a book. For me, I have a reinvention quiz where you know where you are in certain places. You start to get a feel through newsletters, through talking, through everything else, how this person that you're following is. Are they sincere? Are they just out there selling product? What is this about? And then it's you who do the choice. At one time, no, it wasn't you. You didn't have the choice. It was like, this is it. This is the only product I've ever seen out there. And, so I get this or I get nothing. But now, wow, everything is open. So you're open about your business. You open about everything is transparent, and you have to be the one that's selective. So if live streaming is for you, I will tell you, Dawn will teach you. I will tell you that. Okay. And if you want to go it alone, take your camera. Go ahead. You can do it. And that's the thing. It's up to you to be able to say, hey, I want to go it one way collaboratively, or I want to do it alone, and whatever works. And aren't we lucky to be able to have all these opportunities to do so many things and get to meet so many people? Like I know you, Dawn, you're in Denver, and Kelly and Harvey in England, and it's amazing. And all of us everywhere get together, and we do a collaboration. What was working? What wasn't working? And you start listening to what other people are talking about, and where did they feel that they needed help? And guess what? Then you don't have to feel so bad. And that's what I love about every collaboration group that I'm in. And I'm in a lot of them. Masterminds are exactly that. And I can go on, but as you were talking about Elon Musk, the lone wolf, and all these other super people, they have their own super groups and masterminds too. And I happen to know of them. And that's even beyond amazing, because these people are incredible humans. And I was thinking of the story, because a lot of times when you go to groups or masterminds, what you have to do is you have to be accountable and try to tell these uber people to be accountable, right? So they said, okay, guess what? What I want you to do is, if you're not here next week, okay, you have to give in your watch. And we're talking like Rolexes and beyond watches, right? And that didn't work. And why? Because what's a Rolex to them, right? Is it take my watch? Big deal. So they figured out, what can you do to be accountable? And one of them actually said, now I think it's hysterical, you will get shot. And of course, they weren't going to shoot each other. But what they really had to see is, yes, somebody has to be accountable. We have to be accountable somehow to ourselves. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about a mastermind. A mastermind is, oh, so and so didn't show up. How are you feeling? It's almost like, in an AA group. If you say you're going to be there, all of a sudden, if you're not there, it says, uh-oh, he's wiped out. No, he didn't. He went to Europe. But, it's people are watching. And so it's great for people that need to be accountable. And by the way, I'm one of them. I love when somebody's on my case, because I'm one of those people, like, don't tell me what to do. I know everything. Like, leave me alone. Okay. But when I'm accountable, it's like, okay, I am going to get this done at such and such a time. And I'm going to also come with not only my wins, but also the issues that I have. And that is so important, because there are contrasts. You have to also see, where did you win? Where did you win? Because we all look at what we don't have, don't we? And then we're all climbing that mountain. But when you're in a group, it's like, yeah, but you know what? I did this. And you know what? I did that. And I'm not so bad. I'm not so bad. And you can come into a group thinking, I'm the worst one on the planet. I should really quit this. I should never do it. And by the end, you say, we're all struggling. That's the nature of a group. And when we're talking about a group like what Dawn's doing, which is live streaming groups, well, if you're interested in live streaming, I was going to say, talk to the man.
Well, Beverly, you're too kind, but I always appreciate it. And I think what I picked up most is this is an opportunity for everybody to sample their wares, right? So over an hour, I'm going to say some things that might light up someone's mind. Beverly may say something that says, hey, that's just what I needed to hear, or that's the missing piece. If you looked at yourself as, let's say, a baker, and everybody who came by, you had a little tray of croissants or something, and you said, please sample it. Well, you're going to get your product out there in ways that somebody might not have purchased the whole thing, but you sample it. Now, again, how much sampling can you do in front of a bakery? And how big of a reach will you have? Probably till the next bakery a few blocks away. But here, you're sampling 1 billion people potential. You're sampling people who are comfortable doing this with us. Because to Beverly's point, if you had a scheduled appointment in the old days, you'd have to be in Montreal. You'd have to have transportation and the mobility enough to get there. But if you're in Australia and you're listening to this, and it makes a difference, and we don't know who isn't showing up, because I find about 12% of the people comment, 88% of the people are just watching, but they're here. And you don't know who knows who. And if someone says, the other thing about the lone wolf, which comes to mind, if you're a lone wolf to start, how do you change in not being a lone wolf going forward? And who would want to join you if you're not interested in joining them? Right? How do you share if you're the only one who doesn't? You don't. And then after a while, it's obvious that the issue is you. And you shouldn't be on a social media, public, exposed platform if you don't want the exposure, if you don't want to integrate with the other people. And more importantly, everybody is already on LinkedIn who's on this show. So you're not convincing anybody, hey, you got to get on LinkedIn. Everybody who's watching this and participating has probably had their own initiatives today, did a post, commented, looked at their feed and all this other stuff. Well, what if you were to take your skill set and your experience and put it on this playing field and see what it does? I mean, just like if you had a souped up car, eventually you'd want to get to a racetrack just to see what it could do. right? And whether you ever go back or you think the car is any good anymore is secondary to taking that initiative and making yourself more flexible, more available to more people, to more opportunities, to more situations. Because unless you're where you want to be, you have yet to get there. And if it's not this, then what is it? If it's not now, then when is it? If it's not with us, who is it? Those are important questions. And you know what? When all you have is one option, take it and ride it until the second option or until you create your next option. But if you're going to Cleveland, start walking or start driving or start flying. But sitting there thinking about it isn't going to get you any faster. If anything, it'll condition you to think more, do less, fear activity. And, then you have a lack of confidence, which projects very easily. You have a lack of commitment because if you're a leaf in the wind, you don't know where you're going to end up, right? And I think it's also your ability to qualify people, to read people, to see, I can tell something about this person, good or bad. This person is starting to give off certain energy, or they said something, but they're not going to do it, right? Because when it came time to do it, there was nowhere to be seen, or they gave a kind of a backwards type effort to the whole process. But that's good because everything is in or out, or it should be. It shouldn't be, well, let's keep talking about it or sit on the fence and maybe one day you'll figure out where you want to go. You can always come back and you can always go back if that's the choice you make. But there's so many people that you don't have to figure out that takes so long. There's so many people you say, hey, I just love being around this person. I love how they think, and it motivates me to be better. So it's not only who you are, but what do you allow other people to become because of you? And that's where you'll start to get longer, tighter relationships because it's like a workout buddy. So Carl says long, short, long on the party line. Well, unless you were old enough, you didn't realize what a party line was. And what it was is you shared a phone with another family. And you could pick up your phone and they'd be talking. And unless they got off the phone, you weren't getting on the phone. So either you were diplomatic or you said, hey, it's an emergency. And I guess maybe it's because they had so few lines and such a demand for phones that they had to split them up in the beginning. But, until you have context, until you realize what it was to be able to do things without all this technology, without all where you had to actually go out, meet somebody, go out, do something versus now everything comes to you. You can order anything you want from anywhere you want, and you could probably get it in some way, shape, or form. And it really created a dependency on seeking instead of, coming out there physically and doing something. So Beverly, it seems like when we're talking about collaboration, it's really about, just like anything else, the environment, the culture you create, the understanding and maybe compassion and consideration for that one person who meekly walks through the door, doesn't know if they're up to this.
And I'm going to just add community because, we were talking before of the isolation that we've all come to have. And we can become, should we choose to, be extremely isolated. Our computer could be our only friend. You don't have to go very far. I do know of people that, you work at home. I'm one of them. I work at home. You can speak to people from all over. And when do you actually speak to other people? That's the thing. Now, I'm computer literate. A lot of people are away from computers, or they don't understand them, or they fear them, or their lifestyle isn't part of that. When I'm thinking of people in retirement or people that do, I mean, they know enough to open up email and they can be connected and it's not a problem, but it's not a part of their life on a daily basis. Where do you get community? Community and collaboration, that's where you can thrive. And we were talking when you had Kathy on the show a few weeks ago, who's creating a community of women, of older women around the world, when you think about it, who are offering nothing other than, this is what I know. I have lived X amount of years and I'm here and I can do whatever to help someone else. And that's it. And that's all. And so what you're saying is not comparing. You mustn't judge yourself that somebody is better than you are. They have a better education or they've done this, that, and the other in their life. No, everybody has value. So whether it's a community that you find that, in her case, it's women over 50 or 55, or my community, which it would be a Facebook community, and I'm also part of her community as well. You could be on many communities. It's wonderful. But what you're doing is you're saying, or at least that's the message I come through saying, I'm here to help. But when you have that, it's like, what can I give? And everyone should go out with that mindset. It's not, what can I get? We all know people like that. And my goodness, on LinkedIn, how many times do you get messages from people that say, I love your profile. You can be helped by blah. Well, you know what? Do I know you? That's the thing. No. When you're getting inundated with all these messages from total strangers that just want to get something from you, or you go into your emails and you have a zillion emails from people who just, I have this product, I am this coach, I can help you with that, I can help you with this. No, it's what can I give? When you go with that mindset, believe it or not, you do get, okay? And you get so much more. It's not always monetary. You can get knowledge. You can also get monetary help as well. I shouldn't call it help. You're assisting people, will assist back or see the value that you have. It's about value. It's about service. And when you're collaborating with other people, you get to know what they do, and they come in from different places. And if you know somebody that can be helped by so-and-so, you will refer, because these people are your friends. So it's like, if you think about the old days, it's still the same days, mind you. If you're sitting in the beauty parlor and what are you talking about? Oh, I know so-and-so, and so-and-so came in for a pedicure or whatever, blah, blah. Oh, you need a pedicure, go to so-and-so. That is what we're talking about when we're talking about collaboration. And then you have trust. You always trust people who you know are trustworthy. And if they send you to somebody, you know that you can trust them too. So in our worlds where we're living alone, we're living on a computer, we're living in our own little zone, we can get out there and have community, meet other people, just get stronger, wiser, smarter, learn more. It's absolutely awesome. And so I sincerely say, take every advantage you can, collaborate. It only lifts you higher. Don.
Well, you make some good points, and one that stuck out was that what you may think is giving is getting things started, right? Because until someone makes the first move, until someone puts their hand out and says, hello, how are you? Will you get the other hand to meet you? Right? If you say, hey, here's something I thought of would be great for you, and hopefully it is. Well, two things happen. I think, well, you were thinking about me, and you decided to put something together for me, right? So anybody can think about you, but what did they do after they thought about you is they say, hey, here's a banana bread. I thought about you. And in your mind, you say, well, next time I bake chocolate chip cookies, you're going to get a tin, right? I can't give you, I didn't know I was going to get this gift today, so I wasn't prepared, but I'll put you down in the future to reciprocate. And then through that, you start a sharing and learning relationship, and I think, if you were to go to lunch with someone and say, the first one's on me, second one's on them, right? Everybody's going to end up paying for their lunch the same way, but someone decided, I'll take the bill today, and if you like, take the bill next week, but I'm happy even if you don't do it, right? Because that extra sandwich isn't going to break me. And if it makes that big of a difference, I want it to make that big of a difference if that's all it's going to take, because after a while, your time is worth more than the little bits that go into the banana bread or into the lunch. And it also shows you're a bigger person. You're beyond the little stuff. It's like, okay, who had this tuna fish today? And oh, you ordered a cocktail, I didn't, and someone had dessert and I didn't. And what it shows is self-concern, not mutual benefit. And that tells you something about the person, and you want people to tell something about you that's positive, because here's another element. Right now, Beverly and I are pairing our channels. That means Beverly's getting exposure to my audience. I'm getting exposure to Beverly's audience. In the case of Kathy knows Beverly. Kathy would have no way of knowing me. But by Beverly's relationship, it became accessible to me. And if Harvey has a great person on the show, hey, I'd like to have that person on my show. But I can say, hey, Harvey's with the group. I'm working closely with Harvey. Love to have you on a show. Now you've got an introduction. Versus saw you on LinkedIn. I see you're doing some great things. Thought you'd be a good guest. Well, that's better than not. But it sure helps to say, I know somebody who knows somebody who can get you going in this direction. And that's where you get the benefit of what everybody else has either paid for or earned at kind of a free ride for yourself. And in turn, just like that example of the sandwich. Well, if you connected me with Con, I'm going to be looking for that Con for you, right? And after a while, it's like, hey, I don't have to do it all. Some of this is going to come just because of what I'm doing for others, and you got to deserve it. When you hit the mark, people, even if they're not of that nature or ilk, will have to return the favor to keep them coming. So it's either out of guilt or obligation or gratitude that someone says, hey, you did this, I'm coming up with this. And the sooner and the faster you acknowledge it. And if you can't give something tangible, then give something intangible, which is, a very sincere note, a great thank you. Just want you to know. I mean, this was something incredible, because no one knows what you think they might know. And why not give somebody some clues in order to solve the puzzle? And I think that's important. And every day you say, how much better am I for what I just did yesterday? And not how much did I just make? Money seems to always follow activity, never precedes it. If you keep doing great things for great people, you have no reason not to expect great things back, because it deserves it, and I think people have to earn it before they can expect to get it. And some people are slow in giving, slow in understanding. They got their own time schedule. You got to trust what you don't see. And, they say faith is the belief in the invisible, and if you can believe in something that isn't here yet, that may not be here, but you still believe it, it's possible, it could happen. I think that's the whole thing of waking up and getting excited, because it could happen today. This could be the day. And one day it will be. And I think just the persistence, the perseverance, the understanding that, hey, I can do whatever I choose to do, whatever I put my mind to, nobody can defeat me, you know. And that shows too, because leadership is someone who can keep you in the game longer than you would have without them, understand things that you might not have fully appreciated. And that's where communication and collaboration is. Let me get into that a little bit. Let me share what's involved with this. And somebody would say, I didn't know that. Or, wow, now that I know that, I got a whole different way of thinking about it. So it's constant change, constant learning. Connie comes back with a heart. Great. So Beverly, I mean, every time we talk, it's already 51 minutes into it.
Yeah, we can talk a lot, Don.
Yeah, we get on a roll.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go back to collaboration, which is, of course, our topic. And of course, I love it. It's about shifting mindset. It really is. There are so many coaches out there, right? Everybody's a coach. The point is, what you have to see is, oh, she does this. She does what I do. There's a fear. There's a fear out there that if you're going to be giving something out, right? That secret sauce, right? If you're going to give, then what's going to happen? You're going to be giving away whatever you do. You're going to be giving away your techniques. They're not going to come to you. All they're going to want is your freebie stuff, whatever. Okay. That is not an abundant mindset at all. Although there are so many coaches, there's so many people selling LinkedIn, there's so many people selling goodness knows what. Lawyers, doctors, who knows what. Nobody is you but you. And that's the thing, okay? You do not have to fear collaborating. And when I collaborate with anyone, I want to learn. I love to collaborate with the best. When I'm going to be collaborating on my podcast with people, I want stories. I have a zillion people and PR companies and you name it, having people saying, oh, I have somebody for you to talk to on the podcast, blah, blah. They have this book or they have these degrees or they have whatever, right? No, I want the story. I want them to have the social media also, because without the social media, I'm doing a podcast and I'm talking to air. Mm-hmm. But if someone else has collaborated and worked hard, not just to write the book is a vehicle, right? Amazon could send it out there, right? I want the story behind the story. I want who wrote that book. Why did you write that book? Well, you know what? Your story, you are the story that has to get out there. And why? Because people are interested in you. If I tell my story, great. It's not what I do. Believe me, I do really good work. I'll tell you that. However, when I share certain things of what I've done or who I do or whatever, or I'm standing on a stage, people say, wow, right? And that's what they want to know. People want to know you. And you don't have to fear that. And the reason I say people say, wow, it's not an ego feed at all. It's that when I'm working in my office as a therapist, the one thing we do not do is talk about ourselves. Oh no, you have no life. You're listening to the other person only. All right. So when I pivoted into also coaching, and I was coaching people that did do therapy and coaching are two different things. And I was doing coaching and sharing. They say, what, you, Beverly? And I laugh to myself because yes, me, Beverly, Yes. We are all human, okay? And we all struggle. And that's even the Elon Musks of the world. All of them. As a matter of fact, they struggle even harder because they're really alone and it's really not easy waking up with all that pressure. Really, I don't want to be them. But the bottom line is you shouldn't fear being yourself. And if you want to go somewhere in this world, you do not have to do it alone because that is a struggle. And so, whether you're hiring a coach to get you there, or whether you're doing it yourself and want to collaborate with other people that are doing it with you, that'll get you there. But whatever it is, collaboration is the key because doing it alone is a real heavy burden. And when you think of also, look at medical science, look what happened during COVID. Wow, the whole world got together and collaborated. And hey, look what happened. We lived through it. Okay. So don't fear being yourself. Don't fear getting out there. Don't fear any of it. And why? Because tomorrow, not even tomorrow, in a half hour or even 10 minutes, no one will remember a thing. So it doesn't matter. All that matters is what you want, what you need, what you can get out of it. So will anyone really remember? I just reminded you that we got in maybe 5 minutes after.
I know, so you're going to end a few minutes early. But you know,
no one will.
yeah, but and I already forgot, and that's the way you should do it. Is when it's done, move
it's
on.
Done.
And I think the final point I'll add to what Beverly has said is you don't have to go full out. You don't have to, you can just continue to move in that direction, read about it, watch other people's shows. You know, the better you have a variety to look at, you'll get context. And what I think goes away to what I've learned or what I've seen. And maybe I just want to be a guest in 2 months on someone's show. Maybe that's your goal. Maybe I start with an audience. I'm going to visit 5 shows this week. It's not hard. Just come here on a Tuesday and you'll get 4 of them, right? If you just go one after another. So they're all stacked up. You could binge show these live streams and then allow yourself to trust yourself. After I just learned this, now what do I think? You know, you don't set it and forget about it from the beginning. You decide, hey, this is a logical, educated approach to something that could be important. Let me do research and let me check it out. Let me get to understand things. You know, I've got my website, I've got my program. It's very easy to see what it is, and everybody's got to qualify. So it's not a gimme, but it is a conversation, and have that conversation. And even if it's for reference. So with that said, I want to respect everybody's schedule. Beverly, last point.
Okay. My very last point, I don't think I could think of a better quote than the African proverb of, if you want to go fast, go it alone. And if you want to go far, go it together. Wow. Okay. Yes. It's a group. Go together. And if you're interested in what I do, or if you want to schedule a call, just go on my profile. 15 minutes, no sales, I promise you. And we can get you unstuck just in a few minutes, I'm quite sure. So give me a call. And next Tuesday, guys, I'll see you all again.
Okay, we'll look forward to it. Thank you, Beverly. You're always tremendous on the show and gets better every week. And thank you, audience. I hope you have a great rest of the day. If you have a chance, Harvey Tuck is coming on in about 10 minutes. And then hopefully Kelly and Christy will be following that. So thanks, Beverly. Thanks, audience. And we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday, and that's going to be Carl Dakin. So don't miss it. He's a great guy, somebody you want to get to know.